Hello everyone, welcome to Family Home Evening. I always get more and more excited for General Conference the closer we get to it, and now it's this weekend, so I wanted to talk with you today about how we study General Conference. Ever since I was 12 at the Stake Center for my first priesthood session, I've had a pretty good habit of writing things in a notebook during conference. But I've had several evolutions of thought over the years about what kinds of things to write in that notebook, and how to approach conference weekend in general. What I've concluded can mostly be summarized in one rule. Don't study the sessions, experience them, then study the talks. What I mean by that is we tend to put far too much focus on learning and getting answers during those few hours watching the sessions live, and not nearly enough focus on learning from the talks after conference is over. Don't get me wrong, you can learn a lot from watching it live. It's one of my favorite ways to spend a weekend. But I think we often watch conference talks the same way we sit in a class lecture, copying down the speaker's main points, outlining the message they're conveying, copying down good quotes. But the thing is, you can do all of that much more effectively by just sitting down with a November ensign. Instagram and Twitter will be flooded with all the good quotes, so there's really no point in trying to copy down the things the speakers say. I've often missed some great points while trying to copy down something else they just said. You'll have access to all the quotes within minutes, and the full text of the talks within days, if not hours. So don't worry about writing down anything they say. Do focus on the things you feel, the thoughts and ideas that come into your head. That's what watching conference live is best for. Feeling the Holy Ghost and receiving personal revelation. Focus on your testimony and any questions or doubts you might have. Think about what each person in your family needs, what your neighbors need, how your church callings are going, that sort of thing. Basically, how you can improve yourself and minister to the people around you. The thoughts and ideas that come into your head, those are the things you should be writing down. Write any plans you come up with for implementing those things. Share them with your spouse or your parents. Watching conference this way changes it from being just a long church meeting where you can get some good quotes and maybe they'll announce some big changes, into an amazing opportunity to get to know the Holy Ghost a little better, and maybe you'll receive some personal revelation. That only works if you're focusing on the Spirit more than the literal facts of the meeting. So if during conference is when you hear what the Spirit has to say, after conference is the perfect time to study what the speakers had to say. I always pick up the General Conference edition of the Ensign, but if you don't want to wait a couple of weeks for that, the talks will be on the church's website very soon after each session. Here is where you highlight important quotes, mark out the outline, and highlight key phrases. But I like to be a little more deliberate than that. There are generally 3 types of talks given at conference, and you can get different things from them. So they should be studied in different ways. I'll call the 3 types teaching, exhortation, and testimony. Teaching style talks are the ones where the speaker explains a gospel concept. An example would be President Oak's talk, Good, Better, Best, or President Nelson's recent BYU devotional, The Love and Laws of God. Elder Bednar and Elder Christofferson often use this format as well. So when you are studying a teaching style talk, you can look for what specifically they are teaching and what misunderstandings they are trying to correct. These talks are also great resources to begin your own study of the subject. The references list will be a treasure trove of scriptures and other conference talks you can study to gain a better understanding of the principles they were teaching. The second type of talk is exhortation. This is when the speaker tells us to do something. For example, President Eyring's talk from last conference, The Power of Sustaining Faith, was an exhortation to do more to sustain our priesthood leaders and avoid criticizing them. Elder Oaks and Elder Ballard often structure their talks this way too. This type of talk is my favorite to study. Just make a list of all the things they tell us to do and then treat those instructions like commandments. You can highlight all the blessings promised if we obey and any warnings if we don't. That list makes it really easy to compare how well you do at following those commandments and can show you some easy ways to start improving and becoming a better disciple of Christ. Last, we have testimonies. Every talk ends with a testimony, but often the entire talk is one big testimony. Elder Holland's memorable talk, Safety for the Soul, was his testimony of the Book of Mormon. I've also noticed that every president of the church I've seen tends to give testimony talks more than any other kind. As you read these talks, you could start by identifying what exactly they are testifying of, then turn inwards and ask, what are your own thoughts and feelings on that subject? Do you believe it's true? Have you had a spiritual confirmation of that? How has your understanding of those principles changed throughout your life? By studying this way, you can identify where your testimony is strong or weak, and you can learn how to think and feel about the gospel the way the prophet does. And that's a powerful thing. Of course, not every talk fits one of these categories perfectly, and some talks are a combination of more than one style. But there are different ways to approach different types of talks and different things you can learn from them. Studying the words of the prophets works best when you have those words in front of you, for you to peruse at whatever speed works best for you. Studying the Holy Ghost works best when you are in a setting that is full of the Spirit of God. And watching General Conference is one of the best settings for you to get to know Him better. So I would encourage each of you to be a little more deliberate about how you attend General Conference this weekend. Take a little time beforehand to get yourself organized and plan what you will or won't do during the sessions and after them. And please, don't let your General Conference experience end on Sunday afternoon. If you don't study the talks in the Ensign, you're missing out on some of the best parts of General Conference. We have an incredible privilege to hear the voice of living prophets receiving revelation for us today. Let's be careful to take advantage of it. Also, I need to do a quick update for the channel. I love making these videos for you guys, and I'm really grateful for those of you who have commented and told me how much you enjoy watching them. That said, they take a lot of time to make, and I have a long list of other projects I've been wanting to get to, so I've been thinking for a while about how long it will be worthwhile for me to continue doing this channel. Don't worry, I'm not quitting just yet. You'll still get weekly videos, but they'll mostly be the 3-minute conference talks. Those videos usually outperform my own lessons anyway, which I'm just fine with because they're also faster and easier videos for me to make. So I'm really grateful for all of you who watch my channel, and I hope it can continue to be a blessing in your life for as long as I'm doing this. Thank you as always for joining me for Family Night, and have a great week.